Hello and happy Easter from Tileford. I thought I'd take advantage of the Easter break to just upload a really quick video to show you progress, or the progress that I've made so far. So we'll just go through things I've been doing, and maybe I can just share with you a couple of the slightly more developed ideas for how things I hope are going to progress over the coming weeks and months. Now, before we start, you're going to have to forgive me because there's quite a lot of mess on the work surfaces here. So yeah, forgive all the sort of plastic bottles and wires and screwdrivers and screws and all that kind of thing. Anyway, last time we put in place the fiddle yard, and that obviously is now all set up. I've actually wired it up, put a bus wire in, and wired up the fiddle yard, and I'm wiring up as I go along with the pre-wired droppers, which seem to work pretty well. So the fiddle yard obviously is code 100. What I've also now done is make the transition from the code 100 in the fiddle yard to the code 75, the concrete sleeper track, for the layout itself. And I'm just using the flexi track from P-code, the code 75. It's the first time I've really used flexi track, and I've got to say it's been an absolute joy to work with. I found it really easy to move and shape and to connect up, and I think it definitely is an improvement over the code 100. So yeah, very happy with the code 75 track. Okay, so one of the big things that I've been getting on with has been to put in place the platforms on the Tileford station itself, and as you can see, there's going to be 3 platforms, and that will accommodate an up and a down express line and an up and a down local and freight line as well. So 3 platforms, 4 lines, not quite as much trackers was the case at Caversham Central. What I have done is recycled the platforms from Caversham Central. When I made them originally, I made them big enough to accommodate an 8-car HST, which with the benefit of hindsight was probably a bit too much. So I've cut them down. They will now fit a 5-car GWR Class 800. And that for me will be fine. I don't anticipate running anything longer that would need the station anyway. So these are in the process of being cut down and shaped to to make the platform ends. On Caversham Central, it was just simply MDF that I painted and then put a sort of fairly crude yellow line along, and I used the Pico platform edges on, and they were actually okay. I'm trying to raise the bar a bit with Tileford, so whilst I'm still using the same shell, I'm actually coating it using the scale model scenery platform textures which are in place, and I'm reasonably happy with how these look. I've given them a coat of varnish as well, which has been okay. There's a few little patches here which are not so good, and there's a bit of touching up to be done on the platforms. I actually think this one's probably a better platform in truth. So you can see how I've been getting on, but it's been good fun to make those. I have been using kind of framing adhesive, in an aerosol can to attach the building papers onto the MDF base, and yeah, so far so good. I've had to really work hard on the Pico edges, which if you've ever used them, they've got a lot of sort of plastic, don't know what the technical phrase is, bits on the back of them which need planing down and sanding, and then I've been attaching them flush to the sides of the platform and holding in place with clamps whilst the glue goes off and that kind of thing. So those are the platforms so far, 2 down, 1 to go. I'll get round to doing the 3rd one at some point. I also actually have made use of these grids from Scale Model Scenery as well. You see these all over the network, and they really are there to assist with drainage. Now, at the back of the platform, this will all be raised up, and there will be an embankment going behind the platforms. So I thought it was reasonable to ensure you've got drainage on the line itself, given that water would be coming down. So I popped those in and given them a coat of blue paint. They will be sort of partially obscured by the ballast when I come to ballasting the main lines. But yeah, I think they look pretty good. I know that Everard Junction has been using them as well on his kind of second version or incarnation of the layout. So if they're good enough for him, they're definitely good enough for me. And then as we follow our journey down the length of the station, we get to probably the bit that's been giving me, not aggravation, but just I really wanted to take my time to get the junction here right. So we've got crossovers, and the idea is you can cross from the local to the intercity line in both directions easily. So using again the Code 75, these are Electrofrog points. I've never used Electrofrogs before, and they require slightly different wiring up, but there's been loads of great help actually on YouTube from other channels that I've made use of, and I've been testing them as I go along, and so far they seem to be working pretty well, which is good. So I've got one more point to put in, and then I will have that first junction done. My expectation then is that things will speed up a little bit with the laying of the track, because at the moment I've only done the one side. So once this is in, then we will have 4 lines that come round the corner. I want to try and make the bend as kind of shallow and as possible. I don't want it to be sort of too noticeable. So I'm trying to do that, but I am also having to work, within the constraints of the available space. There's not a huge amount of room, as you can see, to get that 3rd and 4th line around the corner, so it might be slightly tighter than I'd have ideally liked. I think what I might do is have a bridge or something that goes across to maybe just slightly disguise the turn there. So yeah, before lines coming along here, which is currently, as you can see, where I'm storing all sorts of rubbish. There'll be a couple of sidings, certainly one which will be used to hold a load of sort of scrap stock really, and probably another one which will be slightly more operational, before we then carry on round to the rest of the other side, but more of that later. So that really is everything that I've got to show you for today. I hope that that you've been able to take something from what I'm doing, and you found it interesting. It will become more interesting, I promise, as time goes on. I know I'm doing the kind of the boring stuff at the moment, but we'll get through it, and hopefully, as I say, with the Easter holidays here, I can now really crack on and make a bit of headway with it. So that's the intention anyway. So that's it from me. Thanks as always for checking in, and as I said, have a great Easter. Enjoy your time off from work and time with friends and family, and I will upload another video just as soon as I've got something that I think you'd be interested in. Okay, thanks a lot. Cheers.